Things I've learned from a toddler parenting class I'm taking, part 3. You guys like the last two, so I just feel like I was clueless when I entered toddlerhood and felt very unprepared. So I'm taking this toddler class and I want to share for others so that you don't have to sit through all these classes like I am, and hopefully it helps someone else. But the third thing that I've learned is that transitions are a very big deal to toddlers. So what seems like not a big deal for us is, because we have learned throughout our life how to adapt to things and how to accept change to some degree. So it's really important for toddlers, when there's any change and any transitions happening, that we give them like an extra amount of grace, and that we only do one transition at a time until they're fully adjusted. So for example, if they are used to eating like lunch every day at home, but today you're going to your parents, their grandparents, or someone else's like for lunch, and they're going to be eating there, that to us is like, we're still eating lunch. What's the big deal about eating somewhere else? But that's like a huge change in their schedule for them. Like, that's not things that they're used to. And for toddlers, something that I learned about toddlers is their brain is constantly trying to think what comes next. So routines are very big for them, because it's like the one thing that they kind of have control over, or they can kind of sense of what's going to happen. Because think about it, like, you're like, okay, we're going to go on a walk now, and like you're putting their shoes on for them, you're putting their coat on for them, and they don't know which step's going to come next, whereas like your brain's thinking like, I'm going to put their shoes on, but you're not like saying that out loud, like, okay, I'm going to put your shoes on first and then your coat, whatever. So the only things they can really predict are like the order of events throughout their day and where that's going to happen. So when one thing gets thrown off, it's a lot for their brain. So if you're going to someone's house for lunch that day, great, but try then to do like their nap at home, or try to keep the rest of their schedule the same. And then also with that, try to give them grace. So if you're at grandma's today eating lunch and they don't eat anything, don't make them eat. Don't encourage it too much, because it's already like a lot that they're out of their environment eating lunch, if that makes sense. So this goes on like day-to-day changes, but also when you're trying to make a major change. So say you're trying to move bedtime up or back, or you're trying to go from 2 naps to 1. That is so much for their brain, because they're now trying to implement that in their days, and it's taking practice of like what comes next. They're having to practice that all day, with the new transition in there. So try not to make any other new rules during that time, do any other tradition, just do one transition at a time until it seems like they're fully comfortable with it, and give them grace during that period, because that one little transition for them is flipping their whole world upside down. So they might be more irritable, they might be having like some behavior stuff, and that's another thing I learned. Behavior is always communication. It's not them acting out, and I can do a separate video on that. But they might have like behavioral things that like they're acting like they don't normally act, or they might not be like listening to rules as much as they normally do. They might be crying more, they might be a little bit more whiny, whatever. So try and give them grace, and be proactive in explaining it. Like, even though you already explained it once maybe to them, like, oh, we are doing bedtime early today, keep reminding them every day, every time that you do it, when it's one of those like more permanent transitions, because it's new for them. So you just have to try and keep reminding them. So yeah, anyway, I hope it helps someone.